Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of our guests today, including Jeff Paterson, standing by, brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort, located oceanside in beautiful Parksville. The Bayside Resort is one of Vancouver Island's premier getaway spots. It's the getaway spot.
Oh.
Looking for a winter getaway? Stay at the Bayside in December or January and get 25% off your nightly room rate by mentioning Donnie and Dolly. You know, storm breaks, you walk on the beach. It's romantic.
Oh.
Try it, Rick. Book your island getaway today at BaysideOceanfrontResort.com or call 250-248-8333. Canucks, they've lost 3 of their last 4, having all sorts of trouble at home. Just 5 wins there. They host, there's a build-up for that game. They host Seattle on Thursday. Joining us now to talk about that from Sekeres and Price and the Rink White podcast, Jeff Paterson. How are you, sir?
Donnie, Dolly, I am terrific, and it's just good to have you guys back on the air. I thought maybe this was a new policy that you just couldn't bring yourself to do the show after Canuck games, the morning after a Canuck game. There were no highlights, so no highlights to do, Donnie.
Yeah, that played into it, Jeff. No question about it. So just 5 of 15 home games, and we'll update the poll question in the next segment. It's focused on this, but any particular reason why they can't win games? They can lose them 5-1, but they can't win games at home.
Yeah, I've spent a little bit of time here in the last couple of days sort of racking my brain trying to figure out why. Why can't they perform at home? Why can't they win at home? Obviously, getting Elias Paterson back would help, and to hear that he's not at practice today is mildly concerning because the last time anybody saw this guy was on the ice in Calgary last week in that shootout win, and even then, he didn't have a particularly good night. So I hope he's okay, and with another day to heal up, maybe, or rest up, maybe he's a possibility for tomorrow. But if he's not there, this becomes a monumental task for the Canucks. We saw with the 2 games over the weekend against Winnipeg and St. Louis, they scored 2 goals in his absence. So we know how important he is, but just beyond that, to the home ice record, it would start, for me, with best players playing better. JT Miller has gone 9 games without a goal at Rogers Arena. The last time he scored in front of the home fans was November the 5th against the Nashville Predators. So we're coming up on 6 weeks since a home goal for JT Miller. But it goes beyond that. Just looking at Bo Horvat's splits as well. Bo Horvat, who's having an incredible season. I don't have to tell your viewers or you guys, 22 goals on the season. Bo Horvat has 2 even strength goals and just 4 even strength points in 15 games at Rogers Arena. So power play is great, and you want to dine on the power play, and the Canucks still have an elite power play. But the bulk of the game is played at 5-on-5, and so you have to be productive at even strength as well. And so, again, it's an incredible storyline. It's not going away. We know all of that. But when you scratch beneath the surface just a little bit on Bo's season, not a whole lot happening there, particularly at home. So if the better players were better, that would help. But it doesn't explain how come this team cannot defend. And so Monday against St. Louis may have been as bad as we have seen. I know there have been other 5-1 losses, but I just couldn't get over the time and space that they gave all those Blues shooters. Jordan Kyrou, terrific player, obviously, didn't play last night for the Blues, but the hat trick and Robert Thomas. This is the NHL. Like, you give shooters of this caliber time and space, they're going to pick their spots. They're going to pick their corners. They're going to score. And so lots of people up in arms saying, hey, they need saves. And sure, it would help if they could get a few more saves along the way. But again, it's hard to dump on the goaltenders when the Canuck defenders just don't seem at all invested in doing whatever it takes to prevent the other team's best shooters from having these grade A opportunities night after night after night.
Jeff, Luke Shen says teams are coming into our building. They're doing whatever they want. You know what? When's the last time a team said, oh, we're going to Vancouver, it's going to be a tough night? What do you make of the home record? I mean, home is supposed to be where you play the best. Although, give them credit, they got a winning record on their own. On the road, they've won 6 straight. But what do you see as the major reason why they are just struggling like heck at home?
Well, Luke Shen's not wrong, and he Look, there's no sugarcoating with this guy. He tells the truth, and now he didn't have a great night the other night with OEL. Yeah. So as good as he has been for this hockey club, let's just say the way it was. Luke Schenn, they all had to be better, but it was not a great night. Schenn was on the ice for 3 of the Blues goals and was in the penalty box for another one. So a tough night for him, but. Yeah, I mean, look, allowing teams to come in and dictate the way these games are being played. Now, there have been a number of nights. I think of the Florida game when Demko got injured and the Panthers scored those 3 goals in, a minute span and sort of turned the tide there. Montreal got up 4-0 in the first period. There have been some nights where the Canucks were dreadful. The problem was, without Elias Paterson the other night, it's scoreless halfway through the game, and it sort of was going according to script for the Canucks. Like, without their best player, dumb it down, low event, all that kind of stuff. And so it kind of had the feel of, all right, like, game's there for the taking. Maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe they'll get a power play goal. Maybe they'll get a lead and force the Blues to adjust. But I think it's 8 of the last 9 games now, home or away, but just 8 of 9 overall. They've fallen behind. And so it starts to get in your head. And I think it becomes this issue of, oh, no, not again. And so Bruce Boudreau said it. I think we all think it, like, pretty fragile group right now. But nobody's going to feel sorry for them. This is pro sports. And so the only people that are going to get them out of this are themselves. And I think at times with this group, and I have been there and watched all these home ice losses, like, I think there are some guys that probably think they're working hard and, suck it up and work harder. Like, honestly, give a little bit more. When I talk about time and space for these opposition shooters, do a little bit more to get into some shooting lanes. The other night against Winnipeg, they had just 5 blocked shots as a team. Like, that tells me that guys aren't fully invested and giving it absolutely everything. And so if it's not working for you, try a little harder and see if you can get some sort of result, because they're now 7 full points back of the wild card spot. And I know people in this market, they don't even want to hear about the playoff chase anymore, but I just mentioned that to illustrate that unless something changes here over the next couple of nights, like by Christmas, if the results around them fall, they could be 10 or more points out of the playoffs race at Christmas, which is incredible to think. Just with all of the drama that this organization has gone through in the last year plus a couple of weeks, to the house cleaning, and we thought it was bad at this time last year, and I don't think anybody had any idea of what was coming down the pipe.
Jeff, you got a coach that's essentially fighting for his job, trying to win every game, and meanwhile you got Hoglander, Podkolzin, and Rathbone in the minors. If they can't play for a team that's not in the playoff pictures, how are they going to play for a team in Vancouver that is a good team? Your thoughts on Hoglander going down to Abbotsford?
Yeah, in isolation, if you just told me that a 22-year-old that was struggling to, find his scoring touch at the NHL needed a little bit of time in the minors, I'd say fine, I guess. But this is a guy that, this is his 3rd season now. He's been a National Hockey Leaguer to this point, and they choose to send him to the minors and keep the likes of Lane Peterson and Jack Studnicka and Sheldon Dries all in the lineup. Guys, it was a week ago in Calgary, we were all raving about his best performance of the season. And 2 nights later, he's a healthy scratch. And then the next day, on his 22nd birthday, too, that's kind of a kick in the pants, gets sent down the road to go and play in Abbotsford. So I hope he embraces the opportunity to play a lot, play in all situations, try to find that offensive confidence. But, again, you just go back the last couple of weeks, he's been among the Canucks' leading scorers when I talked about some of the top-end guys that have really struggled here. So it was curious. It was also curious to hear Patrick Allvin lean into this idea that the Canucks are the 6th youngest team in the National Hockey League in his after-hours appearance the other night. Well, guess what? They were the 6th youngest team to start the season. Hoglander, Podkolzin, and Rathbone were all on the roster to start the year. None of them are here. So you can't, on one hand, trumpet this idea that you're a young team and patience is required, and then get rid of your 3 youngest guys, and because they can't play, and they can't play in this lineup that can't win on a nightly basis. So again, there's just so much noise around this organization right here, right now. I think sometimes, guys, we forget just how young Nils Hoglander is, and it was just his 22nd birthday. This guy made the team in that COVID season as a 20-year-old coming, raw to the National Hockey League, and so he'll get his chance. He'll get back up here. He has to get back up here because he's better than a lot of the guys that they've got on this roster right here, right now. But that was the confusing part to me, that you've got a bunch of guys that have already touched the AHL this year. They all played on Monday, didn't play particularly well. And here was this guy that was a healthy scratch. And then moments before the roster freeze kicks in, the Canucks slide him down to Abbotsford.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, too, Jeff, that figure of the 6th youngest team in the National Hockey League, wasn't Danila Klimovich on the roster?
Yeah.
Like, it was a paper transaction, but wasn't he on the roster to start the season?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, and again,
that helps
this is
the
a team
age.
that,
Yeah.
Right, but in the same breath, Donnie, this is a team that runs out 3 of its defensemen. Every night defensemen are all well into their 30s now. So again, on one hand, you got the GM trying to tell a national TV audience how young this team is, and yet we know the defense score is not good enough. And part of the problem there is you've got 3 veterans. Luke Shen gives it everything he can, but the other guys, OEL and Myers, it's been a real struggle. And, just coming back full circle to this home ice thing, again, looking at splits, like if you just looked at the splits on paper or on a computer screen, OEL has 12 points in 16 road games and is a plus player on the road. He's minus 15 at home. And again, plus minus doesn't tell the whole story, but it tells a story when you're minus 15 and, worst on the team in that regard. And again, he and Shen as a pair the other night, a tough go against the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, blame the seating at Rogers Arena. Yeah. Hey, Jeff, looking very festive, and with that in mind, we wish you Merry Christmas. All the best for the holidays. We love having you on the show.
Guys, it's a blast every Wednesday. Enjoyed an awful lot as well. Missed you yesterday. I watched, actually, I tuned in and I thought, Rick's just using the same material that he'd used on Monday. He's got to get some
the Winnipeg
jokes,
game.
But then I realized that, no, it was a rerun. So all is good now. Merry Christmas to you and to Ryan, to the whole crew and all your viewers as well. And I know we're off until the new year. Canucks play on New Year's Eve, so I'll be working, unfortunately. Because I would, someday in my life, I want to celebrate and ring in a new year at the Waddling Dog.
Oh. Okay. We'll work on that for you.
Good man, good man.
All the best, Jeff. Thanks so much.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Jeff Paterson from Sekeres and Price and the Rink Wide podcast.